1 year after putting the goods up for sale, American Pickers star Frank Fritz's $40 oil cans have not been acquired, and his fading signature can be seen on the cans. In Savannah, Illinois, there is an antique shop called Frank Fritz Finds, which is owned by Frank, who is 60 years old. The United States Sun has received exclusive images that show the vintage oil cans, signed by him that were placed up for sale in 2022, have not been bought by anyone. The photographs were taken in August of 2023, and they show that the motor oil cans are still on sale for $40, despite the fact that Frank's autograph has become illegible and has almost entirely melted away. Photographs taken in September 2022 show the exact same cans, but this time with a more visible signature. Hold on to your TROBGLES. Since Frank had a stroke in July 2022, his shop has been having a hard time making ends meet. The U.S. Sun has in the past published articles about the store's deplorable circumstances, including photographs of rubbish scattered throughout the establishment. One of the pictures showed several pieces of wood stacked together, but there was no indication of their age or a price tag. In another one of the corners, there was a basket that was stuffed with pieces of wood that had been discarded. In another picture, there was a mound of metal scraps against the wall, but there was neither a description nor a price attached to the stack. There was also a near-empty display case displaying vintage soda cans, including a modern-day Coca-Cola one, possibly trash left by a customer. The shattered things in Frank's store were also the subject of a previous report in the United States Sun. The Mickey Utley Band had signed several drumsticks that were included with one of the picks, which were displayed in a glass case that had been broken. With one of the other pictures, there is an old mannequin that is completely covered with spiderwebs. Along a windowsill, additional cobwebs were observed, and a photograph captured an image of a big spider in the area. Reveilgehuis from customers. The antique shop's clients have voiced their displeasure with the establishment in online evaluations that have been put on the store's website. According to the feedback of one customer, nice people, but in all honesty, it was almost like seeing things that had been left in an attic. It is not the first place that comes to mind for me to investigate in the surrounding area. A second person shared their thoughts, saying, "I was a huge fan of the show. I went there to show my support for Frank and to find out what all the commotion was about. The environment was reminiscent of a scene from the television show Hoarders." A third person voiced their dissatisfaction, stating, "The store is truly full of hoarders' junk. I was looking forward to going to Frank's Finds, but I ended up being let down when I got there. This shop is stocked with useless items that are sold for exorbitant prices, such as vintage oil cans bearing Frank's signature that cost $55 to $110 each. I am going to decline." A fourth person commented, "Don't waste your time. Old stuff that should have been thrown out a long time ago, and that is way overpriced. The location is run down and not worth the effort to get there. I was hoping that Frank would open somewhere nicer that would be worthwhile to visit." Due to renovations taking place on the upstairs property, the exterior of the building is currently in a state of chaos as well. Revenues. The annual sales of Frank Fritz Finds were the subject of a previous report in the United States Sun. According to the Experian Business Valuation Report for Frank Fritz Finds, the company apparently has an anticipated annual sales volume of $25,000. The business credit score for the company is 27, indicating that it poses a medium risk. In terms of the financial stability risk ratings, the store was given a score of 4 out of 5, which corresponds to a medium-high risk. According to the findings of the survey, this indicates that there is 10% potential risk of severe financial distress within the next 12 months. In the past, a person who was close to Frank provided the following information regarding his involvement in the company to the U.S. Sun. he never operated the store. Frank would simply bring items up there to price them for customers. Aside from that, he has never managed the retail establishment on his own. People used to approach him for autographs when they saw him dropping off items at the location. He would inquire with those working at the top, "What is selling the most? What kinds of things will I require once I get up there?" According to the source, even though the store does get replenished, Frank has not been the one picking products because he suffered a stroke in July of 2022. This is because the store does get replenished. But that is about to change, as the insider said, saying that it is time for Frank to get out to some buildings and look around at some rubbish that he wants to take out there. He will be going through his belongings to select items to sell. The conservative leadership of Frank. After suffering a stroke in July 2022, Frank is making steady progress in his recovery today. On August 18, his close friends brought an emergency petition for the appointment of a temporary guardian and conservator for the star, stating that the star's decision-making capacity is so impaired. The conservatorship paperwork obtained by the United States Sun indicated that despite his health crisis, Frank did have plans to renovate the store. Mr. Fritz is a well-known collector, and he has numerous outbuildings full of valuable collections. It said in the initial plan that was submitted by the conservator Midwestone Bank. The conservator has not yet completed an inventory of those things, but she intends to keep them for the most part in the same condition as they are currently kept, with the exception of stocking Mr. Fritz's antique store in Savannah, Illinois, as required. Conservator is hopeful that Frank will be able to participate in selection and pricing of items, as he had done in the past. Following the stroke that immobilized the right side of his body, Frank has regained the ability to walk, according to a source who spoke to the U.S. Sun previously. On the episode that aired in March of 2020, Frank made his final appearance on American Pickers. In the year 2021, Mike revealed that Frank was no longer associated with the show.